Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive deep. Today we're tackling crypto, but with a twist less about the hype, more about how to actually make smart moves, manage risks, that whole playing it smart thing.
And we've got the perfect guide for that 15 tips for minimizing risks and maximizing profits in cryptocurrencies. It's packed with those eye-opening stats that make you go, wait, really?
I love those. It's like suddenly you're in the know. Speaking of, did you know that something like 1/5, almost 20% of all Bitcoin is just gone, lost forever in a digital abyss?
It's true, and it's a wild thought, isn't it? But it actually highlights what makes Bitcoin so interesting in the first place. It's scarcity. As more gets lost, what you're holding becomes even more valuable.
Right. It's like this built-in scarcity engine driving up value over time. Fascinating stuff. Okay, so if we want to navigate this world safely, where do we even begin?
It all starts with a solid strategy, and this source hammers that home right away. First up, diversification. We've all heard it, but in crypto, it's not just a suggestion, it's your lifeline.
Because putting all your crypto eggs in one basket is just asking for trouble, though.
Exactly. The source points this out, saying a well-diversified portfolio can actually cushion those wild price swings by, get this, up to 30%. That's massive for protecting your investment.
30%. Seriously? Okay,
Yeah.
that's way more impactful than I thought. Now it makes you wonder why anyone wouldn't diversify.
Right. Now, along with spreading that risk, you've got to protect what you have, which is where security comes in. And when we talk crypto security, we're talking cold wallets.
Cold wallets, okay. I've heard the term, but honestly, I need a refresher. What makes them so special?
Imagine this. In 2020 alone, over $3 billion, with a B, dollars in cryptocurrency stolen. Just from hot wallets, those online ones, due to hacking. Cold wallets. They're your Fort Knox.
Okay, so basically they're like Fort Knox, but for my digital gold. Right.
Exactly. Offline, virtually untouchable by hackers. You're essentially taking your crypto off the digital grid and putting it into a safe no one can crack.
That's a visual I can get behind.
Yeah.
So we're diversifying to spread the risk, using cold wallets to keep those assets safe. But let's be real, we're also here to explore the exciting world of, well, making some profit in crypto.
Of course. And that's where things get even more interesting. This source, it lays out some seriously smart tips for maximizing those gains.
All right, let's hear them. What's the first rule of the crypto profit game?
First up is a strategy that can actually help you outperform even those seasoned investors' dollar cost averaging, or DCA.
DCA, okay, rings a bell, but walk me through it again.
It's all about taking the emotion out of investing. Instead of stressing over when to buy or sell, trying to time that perfect moment, DCA is about consistency. You invest a fixed amount at regular intervals. Price goes up, price goes down, doesn't matter. You stick to the plan.
So it's like instead of waiting for that perfect moment to buy in, which, let's face it, is nearly impossible to predict, you're consistently investing a bit at a time.
Exactly. And the results, they speak for themselves. The source, it highlights this period, 2017 to 2021, Bitcoin's on a roller coaster. Investors using DCA, they saw an average annual return of 21% compared to just 15% for those who went all in with a lump sum at, let's just say, not the ideal time.
21 versus 15. Okay, that's a difference I can get behind. DCA sounds like a solid strategy for sure.
It really is. And speaking of solid strategies, let's talk about setting up your safety net with something called stop-loss orders.
All right, stop-loss orders. I feel like I should know this one. Remind me what that is again.
So, you buy into a cryptocurrency, right? Hoping it takes off. But then the market dips, and suddenly your investment starts to drop. Panic sets in. We've all been there.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like that sinking feeling in your stomach, right? What can you do in that situation?
That's where the stop-loss order swoops in. You basically set a specific price at which your investment will automatically sell. Think of it like an insurance policy against those really steep drops.
So it's kind of like setting a safety net to catch you if things take a tumble without having to watch the charts constantly.
Exactly. It takes that emotional roller coaster element out of trading, which, let's face it, can be a game changer in the crypto world. But DCA and stop-loss orders, those aren't the only tools in the profit-boosting arsenal. Our source also talks about something called staking. Have you heard of this one?
Staking, yeah, it rings a bell, but to be honest, I haven't quite wrapped my head around it.
So imagine that it's like earning interest on your crypto savings account. You're basically locking up or staking your holdings. And by doing that, you're supporting a blockchain network. And in return, rewards in the form of more cryptocurrency. Passive income just for holding.
Wait, so you're telling me I can earn crypto just by holding on to it? That sounds almost too good to be true.
It can be a pretty sweet deal, though like any investment, it comes with those little caveats. Returns, they vary. depending on which cryptocurrency you're staking and the platform you're using. But on average, our source says you're looking at somewhere between 5% to 12% annually.
Okay, those are some returns worth considering for sure. But with all this talk about maximizing profits, it's easy to forget that the crypto landscape, it's not always smooth sailing. It's constantly changing, right?
Absolutely. And that's where staying informed becomes less about, just following the hype and more about really understanding the forces at play, how they might impact your investments.
Right, so we're talking what? Regulations, news, trends, all of it. Basically staying one step ahead.
Exactly. Remember that fact we mentioned earlier about Bitcoin becoming legal tender in El Salvador?
Yeah, that was huge.
Exactly. That single event, it sent shockwaves through the entire crypto world. And it really highlighted how much of an impact regulations can have on this space. Understanding those bigger shifts, it can give you a real edge when it comes to making those informed decisions.
Right, because knowledge is power, especially in crypto. What are some other key areas we need to stay informed about, to avoid those potential pitfalls?
Well, one area that can be a slippery slope, especially for those who are new to this whole world, is leverage trading.
Leverage trading. Okay, that one always sounds a bit like high-stakes poker, but with cryptocurrency. Am I far off?
You're not wrong. Essentially, you're borrowing funds to amplify those potential profits. But here's the kicker: leverage. It magnifies your losses just as much, if not more.
So definitely not for the, what do they call it, the faint of heart.
Exactly. It's a strategy best left to those seasoned traders, the ones who really understand the ins and outs, and most importantly, the risks involved. Now, on the flip side of, chasing those big wins, it's equally important to remember to actually take profits.
I have to admit, I'm definitely guilty of getting caught up in that to the moon mentality, thinking it's just going to keep going up.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's actually crucial to, cash out some of those gains along the way.
Precisely. The source, it talks about the power of, not going for broke with one big win, but incremental profit taking. Instead of waiting for that absolute pick, which, let's face it, is nearly impossible to time perfectly, you sell off portions of your holdings as the price goes up. That way you're locking in profits and avoiding those, shall we say, emotional decisions later on when the market inevitably fluctuates.
So it's about setting those realistic profit targets and sticking to them, even when that FOMO starts creeping in.
Exactly. And here's a stat to back that up. Investors who take that incremental approach, they tend to have a 25% higher chance of maintaining portfolio growth during those wild market swings.
25%. All right, now those are some numbers I can get behind. Incremental profit taking, that's definitely going on my list. But let's face it, even with the best strategies, the perfect plan, there are always going to be risks in the crypto world, right?
Absolutely. And our source, it doesn't shy away from that. It actually dedicates an entire section to, spotting those red flags, those warning signs, and protecting yourself from those who might try to take advantage.
Because unfortunately, in the world of crypto, there are always going to be those looking to make a quick buck at someone else's expense.
It's true, which is why being aware of those red flags is so important. So let's talk about some of the big ones to watch out for in this wild west of digital assets, shall we?
Let's do it. What should we be on the lookout for?
One of the biggest and most common pitfalls, especially for those just dipping their toes into the crypto waters, is falling prey to the dreaded FOMO, the fear of missing out.
FOMO, yeah. It's this every time. It's like this invisible force pushing you to make impulsive decisions. Why is it so powerful in the crypto world?
Because crypto, it's all about potential, right? Everyone's looking for that next Bitcoin, that coin that's going to skyrocket. So one minute you see a coin's taking off, everyone's talking about it, and that fear of missing out, it kicks in. Next thing you know, you've bought in at the peak, and just as quickly, the hype dies down.
Ouch. Yeah, been there. So how do we, silence that FOMO and make those level-headed decisions?
That's where sticking to your game plan comes in. Don't get me wrong, excitement's part of what makes crypto so interesting, but the source, it really stresses the importance of not letting emotions dictate your moves. Do your research, understand the project, don't get swept away by every hot new coin or promise of overnight riches, and remember, if it seems too good to be true...
It probably is.
Right, exactly. Now, FOMO's one thing, but another red flag to watch out for. Unverified projects. The crypto space, it's like a digital gold rush right now. New coins and tokens popping up every minute. But not all that glitters is gold, right? Some of these projects, they're nothing more than elaborate scams. Rug pulls, they call them.
Rug pulls. Okay, I've heard that term thrown around. What exactly is a rug pull, and how do I make sure I don't fall victim to one?
Yeah, imagine this. You find this project, looks promising, right? Slick website, passionate community, the price is going up. Everything seems great. And then suddenly the developers, they vanish. They take all the funds with them. They've pulled the rug out from under everyone who invested.
Wow, that's brutal. It's like, how do you even begin to protect yourself from something like that?
It goes back to doing your homework. The source, they have a whole section on this, and they recommend really taking a close look at the development team behind a project. Are they transparent? Do they have a solid track record? Does the project solve an actual problem? Or is it just, riding that wave of hype? Those are the questions to ask yourself before investing.
It's like due diligence is more than just a suggestion in the crypto world. It's essential.
Absolutely. And here's a scary thought. In 2021 alone, crypto scams, rug pulls included, resulted in over 7.7 billion with a B, dollars in losses globally.
Okay, that's a sobering statistic.
Yeah.
I'm definitely feeling way more cautious about researching projects now.
That's the right mindset to have. Now, aside from, doing your research, avoiding scams, our source also talks about the importance of keeping an eye on market sentiment.
Market sentiment, so like the overall mood, trying to gauge whether people are feeling bullish or bearish about the market.
Exactly. And as touchy-feely as it might sound, understanding that collective feeling, it can be surprisingly insightful. And there are actually tools that can help you with this.
Oh, like what? Tell me more.
Well, one that our source mentioned is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. It analyzes all sorts of factors, to try to determine whether the market at any given time is being driven more by fear or by greed. And get this, it's been pretty good at predicting major market moves.
How accurate are we talking?
The source says it's accurately predicted major market corrections something like 70% of the time, whenever the index indicated those extreme levels of, either greed or fear.
70%. Okay, that's impressive. So it's like our gut feelings about the market, they often have some truth to them, but having that data to back it up, even better.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of crypto, that's the key takeaway. Knowledge is power. Approach this world with curiosity, skepticism, a good dose of common sense, and never, ever stop learning.
Because in the world of crypto, what's true today might not be true tomorrow.
You got it.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. We covered a lot. The importance of spreading your risk, protecting your assets, those profit-boosting strategies, and of course, all those red flags to watch out for.
It's a lot to take in, but the most important thing, take action. Put these strategies to work, stay informed, and most importantly,
enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
This was a great deep dive, and as always, thanks for exploring this with us.